The following story happened in Loreto on February 22nd. Don't worry, I've been spending my time in quarantine during the coronavirus outbreak. So, my bike needed some attention, and while at the welder's shop, I met these super friendly mechanics who had a shop just next door. Here is Tonio, the owner of the garage, and Alexander, a friend of his coming to visit. This episode is about spontaneous encounters, eating way too much, and do it yourself bike upgrades. I guess it started when I heard a song dedicated to El Señor Guzman in the radio. I asked if it was about El Chapo Guzman, once the head of the fearsome Sinaloa cartel. One of them, now curious, turned to me with a smile and asked, ¿De dónde eres? About 30 minutes later, we were drinking beers and exchanging travel stories. And later in the night, we baptized the project pickup truck they were just done putting back into shape. We called it Bienvenida. Then we went to get actual dinner and had a great time. The morning after, they invited me to get breakfast with them, so I met them at the garage. In my Canadian mind, this meant we would meet there, then head out to some kind of breakfast restaurant. It turns out they just meant hanging out in the garage, chat, eat, and work on our vehicles, which was a much better plan. After arriving, I figured, this is as good a place as any to clean and lube my chain, which is due for its weekly maintenance. It was enjoyable to do maintenance on the bike in the garage, surrounded by mechanics also doing vehicle maintenance stuff. It being a Saturday morning, I took my sweet time. I was proud of the results. Maybe because the garage was filled with old, rusty bolts, dust, and carcasses of once functioning cars, my expectations for what the breakfast would be were pretty low. I was in for a surprise. They started by offering me oysters. A lot of oysters. They called those ostiones. This kind of oyster is much larger than the ones I'm used to getting both in the US West Coast and in Quebec. Alexander showed me how he liked to prepare them.
Okay.
It was absolutely delicious.
Yo me como eso.
Esa mayonnaise.
Then we ate actual breakfast, way too much of it. I was already kind of satiated from the ton of ostiones I had just wolfed down, but a neighborhood woman happened to walk by and Alexander asked her if she would sell us some of her famous tostadas. These tostadas are hands down some of the best food I've had on the trip so far. They were fresh, crispy, and meaty all at once. I was truly full after two of them, and I ate two more. So after all of this food, we're just sitting and talking about some of their do-it-yourself projects. Alexander builds barbecues out of car tire rims, which I thought was an awesome idea. At some point, I make the remark to Alexander that my motorcycle battery isn't easy to reach, which is annoying because that's where I need to connect the air compressor I use to inflate my tires on the road. The way things are right now, I tell him, if I make a flat after dismounting the wheel, changing the tube, remounting the wheel, I will also have to unscrew part of my bike to get air in the tire and then screw that part back on. The air compressor does come with a connector for a car power outlet, but my BMW is outfitted only with the slimmer motorcycle variation of it. Alexander, who the day before took a metric screw out of his own Toyota transmission to help me secure my upper crash bar, offered to install his own car power outlet on the bike. I joked that soon, riding my bike will basically mean riding his car. He then proceeds to do the whole project. Expertly, patiently, he figures out all that needs to be done. órale. Sí, perfecto.
Más original.
Sí, parece original. He even makes a trip to a shop to acquire missing pieces and teaches me basics of how to modify my own bike's electrical system.
No, idéntica no es, pero. Intenta. Intenta lo mismo.
We finished the job, and my bike is now upgraded with a standard power outlet. Pero también. It might not seem like much, but when out on the road like I am right now, this is a big deal. We parted ways later during the day, as I needed to get going with the next part of my trip where I would be going to La Paz. They made me promise to visit them on my way back if I go through Baja California again. The plan is to get in two of Alexander's dune buggies and go race one another in the desert, which sounds absolutely ludicrous and also impossible to pass on. I'm very happy I met Alexander and Antonio. They were instant friends and very generous to me. Next time I welcome a stranger in my own home, I want to do it like they did.